All right, now we are here on Desert Oasis, our third map of Week 5 of the MLG Showcase Series. And one of the things I want to talk about, Sean, is IdrA is a very emotional player, and he just lost to Cauthon Luck on Steps of War with a pretty, I wouldn't call it cheesy or anything, but basically it's extremely frustrating when you get blocked from your hatchery going down there at your natural expansion by a probe, an SCV or anything like that, even a bunker. So do you think that IdrA is going to kind of use some of this emotion and possibly play a little bit worse in this matchup?
Yes, undeniably. I mean, I think one of the most famous instances of this is when IdrA played this epic series against Noni. And by the way, I just want to say, my screen at the start of the game spawned over IdrA, and I saw him screw up his split. He sent his drones behind the mineral patch on accident. But sorry, backing up a little bit, in one of the biggest Starcraft 1 tournaments to take place recently, the Team Liquid Star League, IdrA was playing against a Protoss player in the round of 8, and IdrA was slated to win the whole tournament. And in the second game, IdrA accidentally cancels his expanding command center and instantly leaves 3 minutes into the game. And then in Game 3, IdrA makes some of the most basic newbie mistakes. I mean, he just doesn't back his tanks up at his choke and loses a bunch of tanks early on pretty much for no reason. And clusters his units when there's a Reaver there. I mean, a lot of little mistakes after getting so shaken up by his mistake in Game 2. So, I mean, as we saw in that first game, I mean, he lost his early drone to that bunker at the front, when he was trying to take it down, and that's really unusual. I mean, a lot of players are going to get thrown off a little bit by some sort of funky strategy like that, but they're not going to lose the drone if they're focusing. So IdrA almost certainly irritated with himself, as we saw no GG at the end of game 2.
All right, so we're going to have to see how he deals under the pressure right here. And one thing I want to note is that Cauthon Luck ended up getting a refinery as his first building, which is an extremely early refinery. So possibly a little Reaver or possibly some Marauder pushes here super early in the game. Another thing to note is that IdrA ended up sending this drone. I guess he just right-clicked it into the base of Cauthon and ended up going down to the left, and it looks like he rerouted it to go down that right lane. So that's just one more thing to note. And also, you do have, to kind of start things off, you have Cauthon Luck the Red Terran at the 6 o'clock position, and IdrA the Blue Zerg at the 1 o'clock position. Now you do see a spawning pool going down for IdrA. And I think that was probably the 15, maybe the 16. I'm not really sure what the supply was, but you do see now a factory and a barracks there at the front of Cauthon Luck's base. He's expecting those banelings to come and try to barrel down his choke there from IdrA, but now you see his command center now upgrading to an orbital command so we can get those mules and mine a little bit faster. Now you just see another probe now going towards his choke as that factory finishes, wondering what he's going to build from this. Probably wow, he's teching extremely fast here. You still do not see a supply depot from Cauthon. I wonder if this is a little blunder or if it's just something that he knows to do that's natural. Now you see a tech lab and still no supply depot. This lane, I mean, Sean, do you have any idea if this is just a new strat that Cauthon is doing?
This is so creative. This is awesome. I mean, air units are very strong on this map. Look, there's first supply depot going down. I mean, I would love to hear what this build's described. You go refinery, and then you go barracks 11, factory 11, and then starport 11, and then supply depot 11. And look at this. This supply depot is almost done, but, I mean, everything about Cauthon Luck's play, I think, is fantastic. I mean, this is just an ultra-aggressive build. But he didn't mule when his orbital command finished, and I think that is a significant blunder. Fortunately, didn't botch him up too much, though. He has that starport coming out right away. We see IdrA doing pretty much the most normal build possible. I mean, he's getting, getting the Roach Warren up, sending that queen around, sending it directly to that natural expansion so we can get some extra larva over there. Go to the natural. We see the queen should be vomiting larva right now. It should be. That's a real big blunder. Why is he not vomiting yet? Why is he not doing that? That is so bad. There it goes down. Finally. Wow. 10 energy too late. Big blunders going down by IdrA right now.
One thing to note is that queen is at the expansion of his of the Zerg player, and we now see a Banshee going towards the main of the Zerg player, so he's probably going to be able to get a couple drones here and harass the peon line. We do see a couple roaches now popping out from IdrA's base. We might see him push those pretty early as he sees that the Banshee is already coming to him extremely early in this matchup. And one thing that I also want to note is that the supply depot finished the exact moment that starport landed to connect to that tech lab, which is just some great timing. You can tell that Cauthon really put some work on this build of his.
This is genius. This is like advanced cheese. I mean, that's what's so cool is that players really have not come up with how to cheese in this game. And look, the queen's coming up. Going to try to take some shots, but one Banshee beats one queen. And it looks like there's another Banshee about to finish. There it is. It goes down. Looks like IdrA's trying to do a counter all-in, has that evolution chamber up at his expansion, and is only just now putting a spore crawler down. And Cauthon Luck, if he can go over to that expansion, he's going to be able to kill it off, no problem whatsoever. The only thing that he needs to do is make sure he doesn't die to this all-in right here.
Looks like he is pulling a couple SCVs to repair whichever structure that IdrA decides to attack. He is going to be able to hit those SCVs, though, and he does have a pretty small force of only 4 roaches right now, with one Zergling, 5 roaches, against, what is that? I can't see behind the factory. It looks like a handful of Marines. Going back over to those Banshees, they're actually just sitting right in between the natural and the main of IdrA. Maybe a little bit of a blunder. Now they're going back and starting to move. He's going to probably end up killing that. Oh, wow.
IdrA
just leaves. With no GG again, and I don't think he was completely out of that game. He might have just been kind of bending under the pressure right there. So what are your thoughts on that matchup right there, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. If anyone tuned in to the Team Liquid Invitational StarCraft 2 tournament this morning, there was a random player by the name of The Little One who never, ever, ever gave up and had these unbelievable epic games. And in a situation like what we just saw, I really think that IdrA was not out of the game. I mean, yeah, he lost his queen, but I mean, why did IdrA make a queen in his main at that hatchery? Why didn't he make it at his expansion? That is one of those big blunders. But he did have quite a few drones there. If he just buckles down and holds, he's going to be in a tough spot, but he's not by any means screwed. I definitely think he should have stayed in there, at the very least, thrown out a GG at the end.
All right, so that will be 2-1 for Cauthon Luck over IdrA here in Week 5 of the MLG Showcase Series, and we will be right back with our next map, Kulos Ravine.